Hello, this is Minder Chen. This is part of the entrepreneurship video series, and this is the second installment of growth hacking, which is about lean startup approach to marketing. And let's first use a framework that mentioned last time regarding growth hacking. First, you have to be very creative, use a minimum of resources to help you to promote your product and service. And you want to build certain feature in your product and service through some kind of software engineering and development effort, such that your product or service can promote itself, such as in the case of Hotmail, they always mention that this email is delivered by Hotmail and you can get a free Hotmail account. And you also want to collect data based on users' usage experience and to track your progress in terms of customer acquisition, customer retention, and how you may grow the customer. And when we talk about growth hacking, we need to understand which stage we're in terms of building a startup firms. In the early stage, we focus more on problem and solution fit. We try to identify a relevant problem, come up with a creative solution, and make sure we're solving the right problem. And then we move to the second stage, which is seeking product and market fit. We try to come up with a minimum viable product that we can test it in the marketplace and make sure there's a market for the product and service that we have in mind, and make sure that that you have something that people really want. A mantra at a startup incubator program called Y Combinator is make things that people want. It seems to be quite intuitive and obvious, but that's actually what a lot of startup firms forgot. They're so involved in their product, they forgot to ask and find out whether people really want what they are producing. And so once you find the product market fit, then you're moving to the last stage, which is try to scale your firms. Before the product and market fit, our focus is try to learn as much as we can about the customers and the problem they have and whether they are willing to accept the product and service we are offering. And we constantly pivot to new business model until we find the product market fit. The the approach to study the customer tends to be more qualitative oriented. But when we move after the product market fit, our focus is on growth. And then we would conduct various experiments, try to optimize some of the product features and use the right channel to market our product and services. The approach in terms of data gathering and analysis tend to be more quantitative oriented. So in the first stage, problem solution fit, we have to ask kind of three questions. First, is there something customer want? Is this product something the customer want? That's what we call a must-have. Second, will customer willing to pay for it? And if not, sometimes someone else may be willing to pay for it. Just like Google search, we're not paying for it, but some advertiser willing to pay for it to get our attention to their ads. That's called viable, which is really business viability. And third and the last is that can this problem be solved, which end up to be related to the technology side of the issue. And we try to find out the feasibility of the proposed product and service from the technical viewpoint. And actually, this three question match a framework that we use in design thinking, which means that we try to focus on people in terms of desirability. We then try to make sure that from a business side, this business is viable. And the last but not the least is on the technical side, we want to make sure the technology that we may want to develop are technically feasible. We mentioned that once you move beyond the product market fit, our focus will be growth. So we are kind of take a gradual approach, um, and moving towards the growth. There's a transition period which is in the middle. During this transition to the growth, there's three things that we need to pay attention to. We want to, we will focus on our promise, which means that we're going to deliver something that the user feel that they must have. And secondly, from the economics viewpoint, we want to implement the business model that allowed us to profitably acquire most of the users that we target. And the third is to optimize. We want to streamline a repeatable, scalable customer acquisition process by testing multiple approach channels and also to track the growth metrics accordingly. Once you make the smooth transition, then you're really in this top of the pyramid, which is the growth. This is actually the startup pyramid proposed by Sean Ellis, and you can find out that a blog posting by him regarding this startup pyramid. So the three stages of startup, once again, problem solution fit, focus on customer development, and problem product market fit is about validate the customer. And the third stage, scale, we're talking about customer creation and growing the customer. So the important milestone is to reach and find the product market fit. Then we're going to focus on growth, but at this stage, we have already validated our product in the marketplace. Okay. So the product market fit is the defining moment. As we stated here, the number one company killer for startup firm is lack of the market. And so experienced entrepreneurs, they believe that the only thing that matters is getting to the product market fit before you talk about scale up or growth. So the product market fit means that you're in a good market condition with a product that can satisfy the market. Okay. And you kind of know whether you get the product market fit because if you generate a lot of words of mouth recommendation by your user and then your product and service is selling as fast as you can produce it, then you know you got the product market fit. Okay. And on the contrary, if you feel that you don't have the product market fit, is when actually nobody is really talking about your product or willing to pay for it, and you have a lot of inventory which is not moving. Okay. Let's step back a little bit and look at the design thinking process, which is really not related to growth hacking, but it reminds us that how important it is for us to find the right problem to solve in the first place. And we certainly have introduced different variation of the design thinking process. This one, I like it because it kind of describe um, a kind of decision process, which is divergent thinking and convergent thinking, and again, a divergent thinking and then convergent thinking. In this case, the first diamond shapes here is about exploring the problem space, try to discover the problem and and define the problem properly from a point of view. And once you clearly know the problem you try to solve, you pretty much know the customer needs and have the insight of the problem and have identified the opportunity for you to deal with this problem. The second stage is to develop the solutions in a solution space. And the first step is divergent thinking, which is actually develop various alternatives or prototypes for creating a possible solution. And eventually, in order to deliver the products to solve the problem, you need to converge um, towards some viable products that you're going to develop at the end. So the output depends on which stage you're in. Could be just a narrative of the user's journey in describing the problem. And then it could be just a very high level proof of concept or specification, but eventually you need to develop so-called minimum viable product as a solution. So for growth hackers, its job, his or her job depends on their stage in a startup firm. Here we identify three stages. The first is the early stage. Then your focus is on validating product and market fit. Try to identify lead users and to develop a product or identify product's core feature that will satisfy them. The second stage is the mid stage, which is the growth stage. We try to identify and adapt to promising new marketing channel. And we also try to remove all fictions to the must-have experience. The third stage is scale up. We scale up based on identified growth channels, and we try to continue innovating and finding new market. So what is the most important element for a startup firm from an entrepreneur's or venture capitalist's viewpoint? Some probably will say team, but Mark Andreessen's believe that market is the most important factor for in a startup's success or value, because it is the great market that lots of real potential customer, which means a great market with a lot of potential customers, will pull the product out of the startup mode. Okay, so if there's unmet market market needs out there, and if you can come up with some product and service, and the market will be filled with the first viable products. And in that case, the product doesn't need to be great. Okay, it just need to be working at the basic level. Okay, and this is why we constantly mention the so-called minimum viable product MVP. So growth hacking is a data-driven lean marketing. We use real user experience data to understand what's working and what's not. We try to do it with lower costs and innovative approaches. Growth hacking is centered around collecting user experience data and in using product and services and gaining insight from the information that we gather. For instance, we want to understand why users are clicking certain button and what motivates them to buy our product and services, and also how much time they spend in navigating, in checking out, and what information they're specifically looking at before they made a final purchasing decision. And we can grow the business through different approach. This is just one from Amazon. Amazon, first of all, try to offer good customer experience, um, and that certainly would increase the traffic. With a lot of traffic, Amazon also opened its platform to allow third party to sell product and service product, particularly through Amazon's e-commerce platforms. When more sellers participating in this e-commerce platform, Amazon tends to have more selection, which in return make it very attractive to the user to come to these platforms. And also, when you're sharing your platform technology with other sellers, you are lowered the cost um, for yourself and also for third-party sellers. And if you can lower the cost structure, you could possibly lower the price, which certainly would add to the customer's experience. So this become a virtuous loop in terms of the growth engine for Amazon's perspective. Growth hackers takes the 5 marketing steps below. First, begin with product market fit. Make sure we make this product and service people want. Step 2, finding your growth hack. Find the right customers in the right channel to reach them. Third, go viral. So one customer tell another, that become two, and two, each one of them tell another, so two turn into four. Step 4, close the loop. Once you track people come to your website, mobile app, and you try to retain them and then try to optimize their experience on your website or app. And then you can go back and start again to attract more users. And in marketing, we often use a purchasing funnel or marketing funnel as we call it. And in this simplified one, we have 4 steps. First is awareness. Second is interest. Third, desire. Fourth, action. Which means make people aware of your product. Okay, that's the potential market or potential user. Second, attract them so they're interested in your product. Those are what we call suspect. And if they're really interested in your product and consider buying, that's the prospects. And the last steps is actual taking customer, people who are taking the action, the prospect who are taking the action and decided to purchase your products or register on your website, and that's the actions. Okay, so we're moving from the broader market potential to the suspect to the prospect, eventually turn into our customer. Another model similar to this, but much more refined one, it's called AISDALS Love. It's a mouthful. But anyway, it's awareness, showing interest. They're searching for the product. They find it to be desirable, and they take action. And this is kind of what make it different than the simplified 4 steps model of the purchasing funnel. Is the action allow the user to experience your product and services, so they may like or dislike your product and service, and they may share that positive or negative experience, and they love your product or they absolutely hate it. So this is kind of the extended model. So we can add a few more things to the funnel, from awareness to consideration to the conversion to the customer. Then a smaller percentage, which we may consider a so-called loyal customers, um, that they're constantly coming back and purchase maybe more products and services. That's the loyalty, which is really, really important. And some of the loyal customer, we hope certainly most of the loyal customer will become the advocates. They are the advocacy for your product and service. They would actually recommend your product and services to their friends, family, and the people on their social network. That's kind of free marketing, and that's really what you want to aim for those advocates to promote your product and services. So based on the funnel, Dave McClure come up with some metrics. He called it startup metrics for pirates. The abbreviation of the five category of the metrics is called R. Okay, it's called R, AARR. That's how it's kind of pronounced. And it's acquisition. Okay, this is AARR. Acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. Acquisition means attract the user to come to your website through various channel. Activation means they really like their visit, and then they may say registers on your website. That's an example activation. Retentions, they're coming back to visit multiple times. In let's say every month they come back a few times. Referral, which is the advocacy earlier, which is user like your product so much they refer and recommend it to others. Revenue, the customer become a buying and paying customers. So they are the user who conducts monetization behaviors, paying a subscription fee, buying your product and services. And to activate and retain customer, you need to make a good products to acquire and your customer, and to have loyal customer who would refer other friends. You need to market your product properly, and eventually you want to make money. That's where the revenue is coming in, and eventually show your business model can be a profitable one. You're welcome to look at some of the video and slide by Dave McClure. So this is the five stage which we mentioned. Okay, acquisition, how do user find you? Activation, do user have a great first experience? Retention, do users come back? Revenue, how do you make money? Referral is do user tell others about your product and service? And certainly we assume those will be a positive experience. And then the potential users may be called suspect before the acquisition and become the sales leads. Once they activate, it become the prospects. And then if you can retain the user, it's engaged. We call it an engaged customer. The revenue come from paying customer, which is very important. And referral, referring to user who use as a reference or actively invite other friends and family member to kind of come and buy your products or consume the service that you offer. So the metrics can be developed to kind of track our progress along that marketing funnel. This is an example of some of the simple metrics. For instance, the first one is customer acquisition metrics, which we have 1 million one-time unregistered unique visitor. At the bottom, we have paying customer, 1,000 monthly subscriber with $5 a month. Those are the critical number, but don't forget about the good stuff in the middle, which show how you may move, acquire user to different stage, eventually to generate revenue and create referral. So those metrics are as good as the customer acquisition metrics or the revenue generation metrics. So once again, a similar marketing funnel, acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. This acquisition, you want to kind of bring the brand awareness, and so it will be easier for you to acquire customers. And you want to actually engage the customer interactively, and so they become a qualified sales leads. Retention is about customer. And the referrals are the customer who became the so-called evangelists who are promoting your product and service pretty much for free. And revenue certainly come from the regular customer. The next two kind of two-sided funnel came from Steve Blank's. There are basically the same marketing funnel: awareness, interest, consideration, purchase, and then keeping the customer. You can grow the customers by unbundling your product and services so that it's easier for them to buy part of your existing integrated product and service. And do upsell, try to sell them more expensive version. Cross sell, try to sell them something that they need to work with the current product they're buying. And eventually the referral. So this is get the customer, keep customers, and grow customers. For web and mobile customer relationship perspective, the diagram is very similar. However, since it's online, once we acquire the user, most likely we want them to activate their product and service.